Hi, I'm Bruce Lawson. I work at Opera, the European browser, and I'm here at Codemotion in Madrid, where I've just done a talk called Bruce's Tour of the Sausage Factory.
Curious name for a talk, sausage, here in developers developers event.
Yeah, it's a quote from Bismarck, who was the Chancellor of Germany, and he said, the less that men know about the making of laws or sausages, the better they sleep at night. And it's about the process of making laws and sausages is never easy and it's never smooth, and similar with web standards. So it's a look at how the world of web standards looks, the passion, the drama, the tears, the laughter, the sex and the death and the violence. Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah. So what's the next HTML feature?
The next big feature is actually going to be really small features. We're looking at changing the way we make standards. So instead of specifying big features that take ages to specify and ages to implement across different browsers, we're looking at something called the extensible web, which is we open up small primitives in the browser that developers can build on top of. So for example, there's something called service worker, which allows you to control what happens between the web page and the network. So if you go offline, like you have a power cut or you go through a tunnel in the underground, your web page can still work and the user can still do stuff. And this is all the bits exist in the browsers, as just developers haven't been able to talk to the network layer before. So we're opening things like that up. It's small primitives that will make the platform much more powerful. Lets developers build the stuff they want to, because we're giving them nuts and bolts instead of a black box. And this is the way forward, because when you're giving small features, you can do it faster, so we can compete better with the proprietary native application frameworks. Mm-hmm.
So talking about this competition you mentioned before, what would be the next move, Opera's next move, as a company and as a browser?
Well, as a company, we are aggressively expanding. When I started at Opera 6 years ago, we had 50 million users worldwide. Now it's 350 million, and we've just announced 50 million in India alone. Wow. We've signed a contract with Microsoft, so all of the Microsoft's feature phones are going to be transitioned to using Opera Mini, so that's potentially 100 million more users coming from Microsoft. What we do, and the reason we're so popular in places like India, Sub-Saharan Africa, Indonesia, etc., is we compress data. So, for example, if you're downloading a 1 megabyte page, which is by no means unusual, our browser will compress it sometimes down to 10% of its original size, which means if you're in Bangladesh or Nepal, where the networks are not great, you can get so much faster access. You get much more access for your fixed data plan. And for many territories, it's the only way to get to the web. And we're just introduced video compression as well in Opera Mini for iOS, and you'll see more video compression. We all believed a few years ago that certainly the developed world, that broadband was going to be always on and always reliable. I think we all know that that's not the case, because as you get more broadband, websites get heavier and people consume more, and there's still a need for compression. And that's what Opera has always done, and that's what we'll continue to do, with some really interesting innovations in 2015 that they would kill me if I talked about, and I don't want to die.
I understand. Many thanks for sharing this time with us, Bruce.
You're welcome, Alba. Thank you, and thanks, Spain. You're lovely.